Pass, a very special episode of The Pass. We are a couple of Dekes. I am ObiRon, and with me from our Denver audience is Turtle.
Hello.
Hello, Turtle. Are you ready to talk hockey?
Oh, am I ready to talk hockey? I am always ready to talk hockey. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I had a feeling. The GMs of the NHL are gathered together, and they are meeting to discuss a variety of things, the most interesting of which that I think has been a big deal, or at least a lot of conversation has happened around this, is overtime in the NHL. I think a couple of the key things that they're going to be taking a look at are the dry scrape and whether or not to continue it, as well as the format. And once again, they'll be looking at the old 3-on-3 possibilities. Let's start with the dry scrape. Turtle, do you have any problem with the dry scrape at all?
Yeah, I do. I don't. So one of the things that, again, I'm saying this as a person who is not on the ice. I'm not affected by the momentum as a fan sitting in the seat or watching from home. For me, it's a commercial break. So I don't have a problem with the dry scrape, but I've heard the arguments that it kills momentum. You're building up steam, and now that it's over, they have to go. You got to take this quick break. They have to do the dry scrape. And now any chance of you having that mojo going is gone.
Right.
So I completely understand the player side of it. From an entertainment side, it doesn't bother me. If they went back to the original format of no dry scrape and they just continued playing like, they took a quick 30-second timeout, it wouldn't affect my life. If they continue the dry scrape, still wouldn't affect my life. But then again, I'm only speaking from the person sitting in the seat or from at home. So as a player, I'm sure they're vying, and, as a coach, they're like, hey, we need to keep this up. We're so close to getting, our guys, tic-tacking the puck, getting ready to put it behind the net. But I don't know. I personally don't have a problem with it, but that's just me.
Yeah.
What about you, Ron?
For me, I don't, from a fan perspective first, I don't have a problem with the dry scrape. It's a 5-minute break. We're used to an 18-minute break. So a 5-minute break between periods, not a big deal. It is kind of between periods. It's an overtime period, even though it is only 5 minutes. I know that historically, many people were not used to that because we just rolled straight into overtime. But anything that increases the level of play in overtime is going to lead to more game-winning goals in overtime, separate from the shootout. I hate seeing games decided in a skills competition. So I'm in favor of that. And having played a lot of hockey as well, I can tell you for sure you have a lot more puck control, you have a lot better puck control on a fresh or at least dry scraped surface of ice. You get a lot of ice chips and snow that builds up over the course of a game, especially in the high traffic areas. And that can really mess with your ability to carry the puck cleanly, particularly over large stretches of ice. Like on a fast break. And so I'm in favor of continuing to clean the ice. Now, what I'm hearing, Turtle, is that the talk is that what they're looking at is the potential of removing the dry scrape in favor of the ice crews coming out and doing a shovel scrape of the ice. This would at least remove the debris, but not necessarily scrape the ice down that fraction of an inch to get you a more level surface. It's going to help. It's sort of a small step down, but I wonder how much faster it's going to be. Maybe a couple of minutes to get the crew on and do their business and get off is going to be at least 3 minutes. So you might save a couple of minutes. I don't know that that's actually going to be as impactful as some have suggested.
I mean, from a player standpoint, I don't think it'll be that much impactful. From a entertainment perspective, it'll definitely be impactful because that allows you to do another kiss cam or dance cam. For guys like me, I love seeing the half-naked ice girls out there, so I like seeing that. So more of that is always nice and welcomed. That's more money for, broadcasting because that's more commercial time.
Right.
So it benefits in some areas, but from a player's perspective and from a coaching and all that, I don't think it'll have that much of an impact if the ice crew comes out and scrapes it up.
Yeah, well, I think the worst thing they could do would be just to eliminate any kind of scrape and go back to playing on dirty ice. That's going to definitely decrease your likelihood of having good, clean, goal-scoring plays in overtime and avoiding the shootout. So let's hope that they don't do that. That would be terrible. What I am excited that they're talking about, and I've been a big proponent of this, and now we've actually got some stats, some numbers, and you know how I love those to be able to point at, but they've been talking about 3-on-3. And a lot of various formats have been pointed out there, but there's only one that is currently being tried. In the AHL, starting last year, they started a system that they've been trying where this season, where in that 5-minute overtime, so it's not a separate overtime period, it's in that 5-minute overtime, at the first whistle after 3 minutes, the teams go to 3-on-3 to finish out the rest of the overtime period. Last year in the AHL, and the reason I'm using AHL stats is because they did, they are doing this currently and have a whole season last year where they were doing the dry scrape. So it's a little bit of a even measuring stick. So last year in the AHL, when they were doing the 4-on-4 periods, only 35% of the games got settled in overtime. 65% of them went to shootouts. So far this year, there have been 36 AHL games that have gone into overtime. 30 of them, 80%, decided in the overtime period. And almost half of them, 14 of the 30, were decided in the 3-on-3 in that last minute and a half to 2 minutes when they went to 3-on-3. So it seems that to me is exciting. That to me is what I want to see. If 80% of your overtime games get ended in overtime rather than the shootout, that's what I'm looking to see. Those are numbers that are interesting and exciting, and I hope the GMs are taking notice and that we would potentially get a chance to see that in the NHL, if not this year, next year for sure.
I think the stats are speaking for themselves on something like that. I always have to swing both to what's happening on the ice and what's happening in the arena. I think from a general fan perspective, they like the shootout. It's fun. It's cool. From a very hardcore fan perspective, like myself and you, I don't like that. I don't like seeing games decided on a shootout. I want a game-winning goal. I want the 2 points. I want, that's the way it should be. For me, I don't know if I completely like the structure of after 3 minutes, you go down to 3-on-3. Maybe people would hate me for saying this, but maybe a 5-minute of 4-on-4 and then maybe a 3-minute or a 2-minute of 3-on-3 after that. That format, I think I would like, but I don't know. It would be interesting just switching it up. And I haven't watched that many AHL games this season, but I do like the stats saying that 80% of them are decided by an overtime game-winning goal.
I don't know why you wouldn't be excited about 3-on-3, right? Because that's sponsorable. Oh, we're now headed into the AAA 3-on-3. Come on.
Yeah.
You could sponsor anything. Just don't make them wear
absolutely
freaking patches on their jerseys. That's all I ask. Whatever you do.